What's up, and welcome back to Emerald and Lily White, the official YouTube channel of Seattle Spurs. I'm your host, Max Marchand, and today I'm joined by Alex Chang, Robbie Light, and Scott Bird. We've got everyone back for this big summer episode. Today we're going to touch on Spurs have made three signings to be exact so far, and it's not even July yet, so I'd say that's pretty good for us. The U.S. is flying in the World Cup, so we'll talk about World Cup and some potential sales, as well as some links that we have. I mean, there's been so many links rolling around Twitter. It seems like we have an alleged $300 million war chest to work with. So, yeah, let's get right into it. We've signed three players. Van Eck from Brighton for 52. Is that right? Is it 52 million?
I believe
I'll
so.
say 54, but I really don't know.
Okay, 52 or 54 million from Brighton center back, right-footed center back. We've signed Andy Robertson on a free and from Liverpool, obviously, and we've signed Marco Senese from Bournemouth also on a free, a left-footed center back. I'll pass it to Chang first. What's your initial impression on the first month of the window? Do you have any takeaways like linking all three of the signings and which one's your favorite?
Yeah, so obviously, like, kind of weird to be making signings like this early. I saw like the official Tottenham Instagram post for Van Hecke, and it was just like I'm just not used to this, and this must be how big clubs feel. Um, I think that it's gonna be weird seeing Robertson in a Spurs jersey. And for the 3 of them, I think they're all great signings. Robertson on a free, Senesi on a free, and then Van Hecke for, the previously stated 50-ish mil. If you, like, divide that, that's, like, less than 20 each. So if you wanna think about it that
Yeah.
way, and if we were to resell them, like, Senesi probably goes for 50 on his own. So honestly, great business, great pull, honestly, surprising to get those signings in the door after finishing back-to-back 17th, but I'm probably most excited for Van Hecke, obviously starting for Netherlands right now, he looks really solid at the back, Senesi was actually not called up to Argentina off the bat, but, after an injury and a withdrawal, he got called up eventually, so, yeah, Van Hecke, would love to see it. What are your guys' thoughts?
Yeah, three World Cup players. Yeah, Scott, what do you think? These are three, I guess, Robertson, Senese in particular. Robertson maybe a little bit past his prime, Senese in the midst of it, and Van Heck a little bit on the younger side, but three Prem proven players. Like, what do you think that says about Spurs recruiting strategy this summer?
Yeah, man, these are great signings, and I think we have to first look at Roberto De Zerbi, and I have been outspoken as not his biggest fan, right? For reasons off of the pitch. People can read between the lines, but at the same time, I'm like working super hard on forgiveness in my life and not just like canceling people, right? For mistakes that they made. And so yeah, I'm willing to open up my heart and my mind to Roberto De Zerbi, and I have to give him credit because I think he has made an immediate impact not only on the team of old, right, but these new signings they want to come play for him. We're already seeing some pretty heavy links that I'm sure we're going to talk about, right? And I suspect those are also Roberto De Zerbi centric, right? So really, what I'm getting at here is I think we got to give credit to the team that's working behind the scenes, the scouting department, not that any of these people needed scouted. The whole world knows who they are, and I think that says something in itself, right? But the people making decisions, we have to give credit to. But it all goes back to people wanting to play for a super talented manager in Roberto De Zerbi.
Yeah, and yeah, I agree with both of your guys' sentiments. I'm really pleased with all three of the signings so far. Robbie, what do you think? How do you think this shakes out for the back line? Like, obviously, we've added three defenders to a group of players where we maybe have the most depth on our team already. So how do you think it plays out? Who do you think goes, stays? What do you think the pecking order is going to be?
Yeah, I think these three signings are things we should have did 3 years ago. Like players like this of this caliber, because now we're entering a season without Europe, where we're going to have maybe a stacked team. Where like last year or 2 years ago, when we had Europe or other things going on, it would have been great to have this much depth. But great signings. I think Robertson is the easiest example of like Destiny Udogi's been running himself into the ground for 4 seasons, and like just letting him play 25 to 50% less matches a year is going to be awesome. He's probably going to stay healthier, knock on wood. I don't see that really impacting him, other than he actually can rest. And maybe it's competition. It's good competition. If it comes down to that, Senese, ultimate depth signing, I think, is the way to think of it. But he is someone that can push for more time, or maybe get Mickey to wise up a little bit. And then Van Hecke, yeah, I think we all assume Romero's on his way out, but we don't know. I'm looking at a Fabrizio quote from earlier today, basically saying that there is interest from teams in Romero. His preference is to leave England. That's, I think, an important sentence, because we had heard United links for Romero, but it sounds like Romero's preference is to leave England, but he may not have that choice. But yeah, I think Romero has to go. I don't see a world where this team works where he's still here, especially if he's not bought in, doesn't feel like or seem like he's bought in. Anyone else, I don't know if it changes much for anyone else. I think we just need to be a deep team for the first time in 20 years or however long it's been. But yeah, I think Romero is the easy answer. And we'll get to Vuskovic, I'm sure. But Romero, I think, is probably the only obvious departure answer for me.
Dude,
Yeah,
Romero's like, he just reminds me so much, real quick on Romero, Max. But
no, go for it.
this is like a classic example of just like a hardcore South American saying, "Get me the fuck out of England." I think like you never see like the greats of South America playing in England. I'm thinking Ronaldinho. I'm talking El Fenomeno, Messi. Right? These guys just. I don't know if it's the weather, the culture, whatever it is. I just don't think Romero's super happy in England. So I think he's leaving, and I think it's for sure out of England. I think you're spot on there.
Yeah, and that's an interesting point, because like the last high profile Argentinian to leave the Premier League, this could be absolutely wrong. I'm not keeping track on every Argentinian leaving, but Julian Alvarez forced his way out of Man City. They didn't want to sell him because he didn't want to play in
Yeah, good
England.
show.
And he went to Atletico Madrid, which is one of the spots with the Argentinian manager. They have like 19 Argentinian players in the squad, which is another shout for where Romero could be going. It's just interesting, like how much shuffle is going on. And Chang, do you think that like we would be okay with kind of two players in each of the spots in the back line? Because the way it's shaking out, it looks like we're going to move on from three center backs, like Dragusin, Vuskovic, and Romero. And then it would kind of be a situation where it's like, yeah, we have two left center backs plus Ben Davies, two right center backs, and then a couple fullbacks on each side. Do you think that's enough for one game a week? But we have the historically injured squad all the time. So yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, I think that's an interesting point. I think that Van Hecke and Senesi, like as of right now, are being brought in to become like instant starters. That's just my take on it. Because obviously both played for a better team than Tottenham. Like Senesi led Bournemouth to an 18 game unbeaten streak to end the season. Like Van Hecke, obviously young and rising. I think that like you said, three on the way out. You said Dragusin, Vuskovic, and Romero, right? I think that maybe keeping one of them for depth would probably be better, but at the same time, like we're not playing a ton of games. Um, but honestly, like if we held on to Romero and like sold the other two, like this is like Man City level depth at center back. And it's something that we really haven't had for a long time. Like think back to the days where Joe Rodon was like our center back three. Like it was dark. But I think that this depth is just something that Tottenham fans aren't accustomed to, and because of that, we're kind of like shutting the door on the possibility of that. But
Mm.
like depth is obviously never a bad thing. You can't have too many good players, especially like
Huh.
I kind of forgot about Danso actually.
Yeah,
I just
exactly.
remembered him. Yeah. So I guess like if those three were to leave, like that would be technically okay. Like two left center backs, Van de Ven, Hecka, and
3,
then
because
oh Ben Davies.
Davies. Yeah. We
I thought
extended him. That's not going to be covered in this show, but we also extended Van Davies.
mhm. Yeah, I think and then two right center backs, Danso and Senesi, Van Hecke. Um, but
Um,
yeah, I feel like two at each is enough, and then
yeah.
we could probably bring up like
And we got Archie Gray if we need him.
yeah,
Yeah, and that brings up
True.
like an interesting point that Chang was saying. Like, you never can have too many good players. So I don't know. I would be itching to sell some 20-year-old midfielders as soon as we can, according to Alex Chang. But we'll touch on that later. Scott, one last question on Van Hecke. Um, De Zerbi occasionally deployed him as a deep lying midfielder at Brighton. Do you see that at all for Spurs just because of his passing ability and his already like strong connection with the manager, or do you think he's strictly going to be playing center back? Because that is another position of need that we have.
And I think it's entirely possible, especially if we're going to end up with more center backs than we need, right? And I'm not saying he was like brought in to play that position, but I think I think what we're going to see with Deserbi is just flexibility, and not to the Thomas Frank degree, right? Of like rewriting your game plan week over week, but I think we will see some just pragmatic, simple flexibility where Van Hecke could be a good fit there. And I mean, we need we need somebody who can break the lines from deep. Like you said, we've been missing that for a long time. I think the only midfielders that we've even seen willing to get on the ball from deep positions are Bentaker, and you could say that Lucas Bergvall does that at times, just depending on how he's deployed, right? But
Sure.
Bentaker goes side to side, and I think Bergvall is still continuing to hone that skill, right? I don't think I think he's braver than Bentaker wants to be, but he's just younger and needs polish, right? So having somebody that could do that, I think would be super helpful and smart. And if Van Hecke is that guy, then I'm all for it. But ultimately, I really think that we got a heck of a player here. I'm pretty surprised that we landed him, actually, if I'm being completely honest. So yeah, we'll see what Deserby wants to do, but there's a plan.
Yeah, I mean like Liverpool is in on him according to all reports, and he only wanted Spurs, only wanted his
Yeah, I
former
mean
manager.
yeah, and the only reason I can ever think that that would be the case is because Deserby and him are close, and Deserby said, "You're integral to what I'm trying to do, and you're going to play every
Definitely.
minute." And yeah, that's the only way that he'd be coming to Spurs. So
Yeah. All right. So let's talk about some other options in the midfield. Um, we've been heavily linked to Sandro Tonali of Newcastle and Mateus Fernandez of West Ham. I might add two more players that are Premier League proven, which has been the theme for all of our signings. Like throw Savinho in there, like even those Liam Delap rumors, whatever, like these are dudes that have all played in England. That seems to be somewhat of a focus. So, Robbie, what's your knee-jerk reaction to the double links of Tonali and Fernandez? It seems like Tonali has been a little bit more concrete, but they said they would want both of them, not just one or the other.
Yeah, I think I'll start from what I think is the most important piece of this is that for the first time that I can remember, we have a summer where we're talking to multiple people at the same time instead of focusing on one guy until he spurns us and then we have to go start new conversations with new people. That seemed to be the how it's worked under Daniel Levy or whoever was in charge the last couple of years, where it's like, hey, we're linked to this one guy, and then he finally says no, and then we have nothing. So I feel like even if Tonali doesn't happen or Fernandez doesn't happen, we're still deep in conversations with the other. Sounds like they want both. I'll believe it when I see it, I guess, from a financial standpoint. And yeah, the numbers are kind of crazy. I keep seeing on the internet that like obviously Newcastle is holding firm at this 100 million pound transfer fee, which is rather insane, I would say. And I think Tottenham's offer this morning was 80 million, I saw, or something that got rejected. It was somewhere between 75 and 80, according to sources. But in theory, money aside, both exciting potential signings. I think the most important strategic information I have to offer is I saw someone talking about how De Zerbi doesn't necessarily have prototype midfielders. He doesn't need a 6, 8. Like, he wants players that can kind of do a couple different positions. So that perhaps influences some of this, whereas some of our previous managers were just looking for very specific midfielders who only did one job, essentially. So that could be helpful too. But, the tactical part is something I definitely don't know as much about. But I think that speaks to these guys. It sounds like that at least there's flexibility in what they can actually bring to the team.
Yeah, Chang, which one do you think is more likely to get done? / do you think we're going to get either one of them?
I think that from what I've seen, Tonali, we've actually submitted a bid for. So I think that the links are probably more concrete at this point, whereas Mateus Fernandez, I've only seen that he said he would be okay with playing for Tottenham and that he ideally would want Manchester United, which, like, the Tottenham phone only rings once. Like, if you're not on board, like, you can get out. But I haven't really seen much from Tonali. I know back when he was like a rising star, he was like the Pirlo regen, but since arriving in England, like, obviously he had that ban. Like, I just don't really know. Like, nobody really praises him for his passing ability anymore, I feel like. So I'm not sure how, like, the whole Pirlo comparisons are still going. He kind of seems like a workhorse now.
Yeah.
But I really have not watched much of him, so if anybody wants to weigh in, like, go ahead.
I would say he's not a Pirlo regen anymore. I think I understand why people said that in Serie A for sure. I mean, I watched Serie A, almost as much as I watch the Premier League, and obviously I try not to miss an Azzurri match. So he's not the Pirlo regen, but again, probably was at the time. It's all defensive contributions. I mean, last year he played in 35 matches, 257 defensive contributions, and that breaks down to 35 tackles, 31 interceptions on 147 recoveries. So I mean, 100. We're talking 5 recoveries a game, right?
Yeah, it's
On
a
top
lot.
of tackles and interceptions.
How's his
So
positioning?
I mean, that's something that I think is a little bit more subjective, right? But I also think that De Zerbi seems to be the type of guy that can get whatever tune he's trying to get out of whoever is playing for him, right? So, and they're both Italian, and Italians roll deep, man. So I think
That
they,
seems like one of the main reasons. Like,
yeah,
Tonali seems super keen on Spurs as his like top choice.
yeah, I think he's really good, and I think he's been really good in the Premier League, and that's super important for us in the midfield. We need somebody. Honestly, I would say he's like a significantly more talented João Paulinho, like who can be on the ball too and not just recover possession, right? So, I like it. I think he's more important than Mateus Fernandez when I start thinking about the Bergvalls and the Madisons who's returning, and maybe even a Kulusevski at some point. We'll see, right? Probably not. As Chang shakes his head, I agree, right? But um, and even a Gallagher. I'm not saying Gallagher is the answer, right? But I think we have enough up top to where if I had to pick one of these, it's Tonali all day. But I'm also not saying I wouldn't love Fernandez as well. So we'll see.
So, how do you see us setting? Like, let's say we sign Tonali tomorrow. It's opening day. Like, how do you see us setting up? Do you think he's in the 6, or do you think we're signing another 6,
Probably
or do
double
you think
pivot,
he's in
I
the
feel like.
8? Double pivot. Yeah, 4-2-3-1.
Yeah. I mean, Chang, feel free to weigh in, but I would see in a double pivot would be
Like,
probably,
alongside who? Like, who do you see him mixing well with in the team? That's kind of where it's losing. Like, the Tonali thing's losing me. It's like I'm having
yeah.
trouble kind of like mixing. And like Robbie said, like maybe De Zerbi doesn't care about like these player archetypes, but he seems redundant a little bit to what we already have. So I was wondering where you thought he might fit in best with our other current players.
Bentancur.
Bro, there's no way he's on the team if we're in for both these guys, right? Like, am I going crazy?
I think
Like, think
Deserby
about
likes
how
him,
many
man.
midfielders we would have.
Yeah, I think there's gonna be some outgoings, like whether we like it or not.
I think I
I'll
just
tell you one.
lagged
I'll
out.
tell you one. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm back. I'm
Yeah.
back.
Okay, cool. But yeah, honestly, there's gonna be people on this panel who don't like what I'm about to say, but Roberto Deserby loves him some Conor Gallagher, man. Big fan of that guy. So
I know.
But he's
we'll
not like a
see.
double pivot guy. He's like more of like a 10.
You're right.
Yeah.
But
But I don't think
feel
he's
like
a 10 either. Like, I don't.
he's not. He's so shit that he can't fit into a position. Like,
Or he's
like
so
he
good,
feels
like,
like
he does
Tonali.
everything.
Tonali feels like a better Gallagher to me. Like even more so than Paulinho, who's like a pure 6. Like I feel like Tonali can kind of do the box to box thing a little bit.
He can.
But yeah, he just feels a little bit redundant. Like he feels like a runner. We have too many runners.
Yeah.
Fernandez would probably be my preferred signing, and I think Chang agrees, right?
What does he do? Like, I actually don't know.
Who, Tonali or Gallagher?
Fernandez. Or honestly, both. Like I haven't kept up on
I think Fernandez is like a pure, like, I would comp him to like Wharton, like in the way that he's like more of a pure like 6 a little bit, like sitting deeper, but kind of like a deep lying playmaker.
not like a holding like break.
Like a deep lying playmaker, like build up.
He'll get forward though. Like,
he could also get forward. I agree. But I think like he wins the ball so much. Like that's one of his best traits, I think.
Dude,
well, we had a guy that was like super good at that.
Yeah, but he wasn't good at anything else except bicycle kicks.
Dude, he kind of reminds me of this. I don't know. Maybe this is a bad take. I don't think it is, but I think he kind of reminds me of Weston McKennie and like the way that Weston plays. I think Weston is a little bit more like attacking minded, but like the way that like his late runs into the box is probably what I'm thinking of more than anything. He just seems to have like really good soccer IQ from what I've seen. Fernandez.
I think that's what's exciting with Fernandez is that he feels like a guy who's built for like a double pivot.
Yeah.
Like he can also be the one sitting, but he can go to. If we get both and run that double pivot, I
low-key think Tonali and Bergvall could.
Are they too similar?
No, I feel like Bergvall is probably more of a ball carrier.
You tried to sell Bergvall yesterday.
He's okay. Low-key, I was rage baiting as well, but the more I spoke about Gray, the more I kind of believed it.
All right. Well, yeah. So those are our 2 midfield signings. I'm sure all of us here would be super happy with either. Tonali kind of feels surreal to like take a guy like that off Newcastle. Like that's insane.
I mean, I feel like a few years ago, Tonali would be like genuinely mind blowing, but now I feel like I'm like hot on it, but I'm not like mind blown. You know,
it kind of feels like the Xavi thing where it's like, dude, where in what world are we getting that guy? And then like we just get him.
I think he's good, man. I really think Tonali's good. I mean, on top of those stats I mentioned earlier, he also created 32 chances in his 35 appearances and 6 big chances. So I think we're not bringing him in to be the main creator of big chances, right? But I think he can offer a lot. I think Chang's right in saying Bergvall is more of a ball carrier and Tonali is more of somebody who's going to break lines with passing, right? But
yeah,
maybe there is a world where those two play well together. I don't know. Fortunately, Deserby can figure that shit out.
Valid. All right, let's talk sales because I mean, there's a lot going on midfield wise for this. Are we selling these youngsters? Vuskovic, Bergvall, Gray, Sarr. This was a hot topic in our group chat yesterday with Chang leading the charge, trying to sell it absolutely everyone who's ever played for us. But
under the age of 20.
Yeah, like how many of these four do you see us like getting rid of, Robbie, if any? And do you think and why do you think that would be? Like, do you think the development here has really been that stunted?
Yeah, I think, well, the easiest topic to start with is Vuskovic because he's maybe talking his way out of the club. He won't stop talking, it sounds like, about how he wants to go somewhere. Um, and so we'll see. I think both can be true. I think maybe Vuskovic ends up being a really good player, but he also sounds like he might be a problem or just like annoying. I don't know. And you just have to decide, do you want to have that on your team or not? I don't know. We also don't know for sure that he'll be a dominant player, but he very well could be. But I think the number I've decided on based on the reporting I've heard, as I told you guys, there is like, for me, 50 million plus a sell on clause would probably make me go, okay, whatever. He maybe has unlimited potential, but we also just don't know. Bergvall, Gray, Saar, I think one of them has to go for sure. From what I've heard, Gray seems like he's going to be here no matter what because he is a Swiss Army knife, and that's what he's valued for. Apparently, as a quote or something I saw that like we like that he's a squad player and he can play a bunch of different positions. That may not be something you want to hear either for his potential, but sounds like De Zerbi that's what he thinks. Yeah, Bergvall and Saar, somebody's got to go. I have obviously unfair bias. I love my Swedish players as I am Swedish in heritage, so I love him. But yeah, him and Saar have kind of had similar ups and downs the last couple of years. You would argue Saar's had more because he's been here a little bit longer, but they're both super young. So I personally don't have an answer. Somebody's got to go, I think. But sounds like Gray is not going anywhere from the whispers I've heard on the internet, at least.
Yeah, Scott, what do you make of the Vuskovic, I guess, comments, but he didn't make any official comments, like just some media trained stuff, but like if you're reading into the subtext a little bit in his stuff on social media, it's been a little bit crazy how much he doesn't want to be at Tottenham. Like, why do you think that is? It's very confusing to me.
Yeah, man, I think like I have to be careful to not like try to, cast judgment upon someone I've never met here, right? But like I feel like if you read between the lines, he's clearly I don't want to even say the most talented, but the most talked about across the footballing world out of all four of these guys. Maybe the most talented. Everything he's also done was in the Bundesliga, and I think we talked about it in the chat this morning. It might have been a different chat, but also has been recognized for his offensive contributions in the Bundesliga as a center back, right? That's what we see the most content around and the hype. And I don't really think that's important in the Premier League, right? It's nice to have. But it's a very different league. Like it is so much easier for a center back to get involved in the attack in Germany than it's ever going to be in England, right? I also think he's slow. And as a really good buddy of mine, Todd pointed out, his hip, like he doesn't know how to like shift his hips well enough yet. And like Todd brought this to my attention, and it's something that I'm kind of like digesting and trying to learn more about through watching him play, right? But anyways, I just think that we got to pump the brakes a little bit on him. I think because of all that hype, though, to answer your question, I think that there's probably a lot of people in his ear telling him he needs to get out of Spurs because it's like you're the next big center back. Everyone's talking about you. Every club in the world wants you. Players end up kind of falling off the wagon at Spurs at times, right? So just get out of there as fast as you can. I don't suspect anyone in Bergvall's, Gray's, or Sar's camp are having those conversations, but I think with all the hype around him, I'm sure there's people he trusts telling him to leave Spurs. Whether that's right or wrong, I don't know, but I think that's probably why we're seeing him act in the manner that he's acting.
And Chang, what fee would you be good with taking for Vuskovic to go this summer without ever making an appearance for Tottenham, by the way, and in a competitive match?
Yeah, I really agree with Robbie. I think 50 plus maybe like a 25% sell on would be chill with me. I just think like Tottenham aren't really a sell high kind of club, and a lot of our loans, like they're usually just unproductive. So to really have like struck gold on this guy, like he had a great loan, like let's just sell high on him. Like especially if he doesn't want to be here. I feel like that's like really what's like swinging the needle for me. Like if he doesn't want to be here and he's has the most like guaranteed value right now. Because yeah, he's a rising star. Like he could flop, he could like become a world class defender. Like we don't know. Like, but what we do know is that right now we could get 50 million in our pocket. We signed him for 12 mil. Like we can just take that and just run to the bank. Like I think that's completely fine with me.
But would you want to sell? Like, I don't know. I can open this up to everyone, but like the main club in on him is Brighton. I don't really want to sell him to Brighton, but I mean it I just don't understand. Like I don't get why he would want to go to Brighton over us. Maybe because of playing time. That's a valid point, but it's just hard for me to want to sell him to another Premier League club. If we were selling him, and especially one that's worse than us, like if we were selling him to a Bayern or whoever, like I would be way cooler with that. But is Brighton really going to shell out 50 mil for a 19-year-old that's not played a game in the Prem?
I mean, I guess they're like they just bid 45, so
Yeah.
and if you think about it, like how many teams are really like looking for a starting center back right now? Because Brighton just sold Ben Heka, so obviously they're looking for like a new replacement. But like a lot of clubs, like they like the world class clubs like the Real Madrid, Barcelona's, they're not gonna sign him and start him right away. Like this is probably one of the better teams that would sign him and start him right now.
They're in
In my-
Europe too, I think, right? Next year.
Mhm.
I think they made Conference
They
League.
are in Europe. They are in Europe.
Yeah. I mean,
I'd rather just loan him though. Like
I think a loan back to HSV would be chill because he like that's what he wants to do. Like he wants to play with his brother.
who gives a fuck, man? Like we could have used him this year. Like it's just so frustrating, but I'm kind of I guess I'm accepting the fact that he doesn't want to be here and we're never going to see him play for Spurs.
dude, we also like Spurs fans. And I'm not saying other people, like I do this myself, right? But as Spurs fans, we're like we get way more attached to our players than a lot of other clubs do. And I think it's because like we've always been so close to achieving the goals that everyone around us is always achieving, right? And like that, I think that like when your focus is less on like all your accomplishments, you look at the team and those players become important to you because you really don't have anything else, right? To invest yourself into. And so I think that's probably why that happens. But like Vuskovic is for sure replaceable, right? Like without a doubt. This is not like we're talking about Romero, who's going to be hard to replace in a lot of ways, right? I think we can do it. But this is a 19-year-old who's never played for the club. So as we grow as a club and become a bigger club and kind of find ourselves closer to that echelon we want to be in, I mean, this shit's going to happen all the time. Like Chelsea lost out on Salah and De Bruyne and still won a Premier League and a Champions League after that, right? So sometimes you just do what you got to do, and sometimes it shakes out pretty shitty for you. Sometimes it works out. I do think Vuskovic is the real deal because Brighton like doesn't miss, right? Ever. And so if they're willing to bring him in, I think they know there's something there. But that doesn't mean that like it's right for us right now either. So I don't know.
Interesting. Yeah. So, yeah, let's talk Bergvall a little bit. I don't want to sell him. Robbie doesn't want to sell him. Scott, Chang, what are your thoughts on the Swede and his down season last year? Although Thomas Frank, et cetera, et cetera. How much would you sell him for? If do you want to sell him? Where do you see him fitting in next year?
I think it depends on what center mid signings we bring in, but I don't want to part ways with Bergvall, to be honest. I'd rather part ways with Gray. But if we sold him, I'd take like what? We signed him for 12,
7.
7. I mean, I'd take like 25 to 30. Like, what is
Yeah.
he? I don't think he's really done much to warrant him being more. And like Scott said, like when you're not winning trophies, like you just get attached to like your little players and like
We won a trophy,
you get hella parasocial with
and
them.
he was on the team, and so is Gray.
You get like hella parasocial with them. Like I was probably like the world's biggest Brian Hill fan for like a few years. Like his mom probably didn't care about him as much as I did, but yeah.
Yeah. Why do you think we should sell Gray? And does anyone else here is anyone else here on board with Chang and selling Archie Gray?
Hold up. No, don't sell Archie Gray.
Chang is like the captain of the Archie Gray, like sell, get the fuck out. He's like raising money to buy out Archie Gray's contract right now.
Dude, I think the problem with Archie Gray is I think he has been used as too much of a Swiss Army knife. Like I think if you just get him playing in the same place, he's gonna bang. Like I think he's extremely talented. When we bought him, like one of the performance trainer like gurus at Leeds, right? Not the manager, but one of their guys who develops all their talent came out and said that dude can play any fucking position on the field, even striker. Like he will figure it out in like 2 weeks, right? And that is somebody who's football IQ. I don't want to get rid of. I just think stick him in one place, let him play the same position, and I think we've got a real gem. And I also am with everyone in saying don't sell Lucas Bergwall. I think that would be a massive mistake.
Yeah, Chang. So make the case.
I mean, I've just never like seen it with him. He was honestly better at Leeds than he has been here. Like he has not developed a single bit. And like
That
I
was
get
the
that he's like
championship.
I get he bro, did you see you remember that one performance versus Chelsea?
Yeah, in the cup.
Yeah. Like he's never done anything close to that for Tottenham.
He ran Atletico Madrid, dude.
Dude, he just hasn't gotten better. Like, do you think he's gotten better since we also signed him for 40 million euros? That's insane.
When has he had time to get better?
I feel like if he was this world beater that everyone seems to think he is, like he would just force himself to get time. Like
no one's calling him a world beater, dude.
Yes,
I think that's where we're not aligned. Like who is telling you that Archie Gray is a world beater?
They call him like the future captain of Tottenham, like this and that. Like, bro, he's just like another Oliver Skip, bro. Like he's not that good.
No.
I actually don't think he's that good.
Dude, Oliver Skip was my favorite player, but Oliver Skip never could sniff the technical ability of Archie Gray.
Like, what is he good at? I still don't really know.
What is he bad at?
Like, he's just average, bro. Like, he's not that good.
But he's also 20.
Then loan
and he's
him.
made 100 appearances for Spurs.
If he wants to be just loan him back to Leeds or something, bro. Like they'll definitely take him.
But why? I don't understand why you don't want him in the squad. Like,
because he's not gonna play, and that's the thing. That's like everyone agrees with me. Like he doesn't play. Like sure, if he has so much potential, then he can go out on loan and prove it. But if he stays here, he's not gonna play. Everybody, like he's just like if man, bro. Like if he got more playing time, if he played in his position, like if he did this, if he did that, like he doesn't do anything, bro.
Dude,
what does he do?
What does he do? I like to look at it from the flip side. At 20 years old, to have played left back, center back, right back, the 6 and the 8, average as a 19-year-old in the Premier League. I think that's pretty fucking incredible. Like to be average at all of those positions by the time in the Premier League by the time you're 19 years old. So that's where I say like just we got to let him excel at something, right? He can't be a master of nothing. I think that's where if that happens, we're going to see him definitely fade out into the oblivion by the time he's like 24, 25, but I don't know, man. I think something about not only his technical ability, but his just like comfortability and bravery at such a young age is something that I'm like not ready to say goodbye to. I think between Gray and Bergvall, I'd keep Gray before I'd keep Bergvall, which might be crazy, but
yeah, I mean, like I definitely agree with you. I think Archie Gray is like jack of all trades, master of none. But like the problem is that like okay, like yeah, he's average at everything. So if we need to develop him into like a 6, like he needs to play in like the midfield, right?
yeah.
But he's not going to get playing time here if we make the signings that we think we're going to make. So just loan him. Like, I think a loan is probably like the thing that works best for all parties, genuinely, because he can go somewhere, he can play his actual position, and he can like get game time in his actual position.
Yeah.
Like I do think that he's like a chill guy. Like he doesn't really complain about anything. Like he's like super professional and everything. But those are like intangibles. Like I need to see it on the pitch at this point. Like I haven't seen anything from him in 2 years.
But like it's like he's a year older or 2 years older than Mikey Moore. Like it's like if Mikey Moore was going to make 50 appearances this season, are you going to like write him off? Because like Mikey Moore is not going to play. Like I just don't see like he's so young. I don't see like why we're like capping his development or like so hard. And it might be because we're only playing one game a week, which is valid. Like I don't think a loan would be awful, but like I do think that like he has done things for Spurs that like that have put him in the place where he deserves to at least get some minutes and be in the squad. Like he was integral to the last 2 seasons, albeit the worst seasons in club history, but he stepped up when everyone else got hurt and was kind of a rock there for a while.
But I feel like the problem is with what you're saying. Like you're saying he should get minutes here and there. Like he has been getting minutes here and there, and he's shown nothing, which is why like he needs to we either need to sell him or we need to like loan him or something to get actual concrete minutes. Like right now he's feeding off scraps, and like that's shown in his development because he hasn't gotten any better. Just loan him. I think loan is like loan I can agree with, but I don't think he should like be in the first team squad, especially if we're bringing in 2 center midfielders.
Yeah, I get down with a loan. I could get down with a loan, but it's got to be in the Premier League.
Yeah, I was gonna say we have to. If our youngsters need to be loaned to the Premier League because we never do that, and maybe nobody wants them, but if we want to sign Premier proven players only moving forward, we need to make our youngsters be Premier proven somehow, and it's got to be either with us or another team.
I think Liverpool want him. Like
Gray,
if we went down,
that was Bergvall, I thought.
No, they wanted Gray.
Gray.
Yeah.
Oh.
And Van de Ven, but they're no longer interested in Van de Ven.
But also, I think that the path for Mikey Moore to get minutes at left wing is way more clear than the path for Gray to get minutes as center mid.
No, I agree, but I'm saying like
yeah,
it's like 2 years ago, like Gray was Mikey Moore's age and he made 50 appearances and won a Europa League. Like, do you see Mikey Moore doing that this year? Like, but would his development be better or worse? Like, it's almost like you're penalizing Gray because he started playing when he was so young.
Then why isn't like I just don't think he's getting better. Like that's like the bottom line. Like he hasn't developed at a single thing.
Has anybody on Tottenham gotten better in the last 2 seasons?
Yes, Pedro Porro.
That's a good question.
Tell.
17th 2 years in a row. The lowest XG in the history of the Premier League or something.
Honestly, Richarlison.
No, I think he's always been like that. Like
he's always been this good. Yeah,
he was always doing that for Everton. He was honestly better at Everton, low key.
Yeah, he might have been, man.
It was,
but I mean,
dude, the things
4 different managers and shit
was insane.
Yeah,
bro,
dude.
Barca bid $80 million for him, and Everton rejected it.
Gray played center back, right back, left back for a whole season, and then had Thomas Frank for a whole season. And you want to ask why he's not getting better?
It's fair.
Sure, bro. Just come back to this at the end of the season.
I will. I will. He won. All right. Last thing. I know Chang has to go. He won Club Player of the Season this season.
I don't know how, because I can't name a single thing he did for the team. I'm not even joking.
And Bergvall won last season, and these are the guys.
I would give it to Polina over Gray. Like that's insane. Like I genuinely can't name a single thing Gray did all season, except for the Atletico game. But I had to walk to my lab, and I had lab during that game, so I didn't even see it.
He was balling that game, but he scored goals. I think he probably kept us up. But
I have.
Bro, you know who actually kept us up? Polina.
Cool. See ya.
He did.
Thank you. It was a good run, but
on what metric do you think he won Club Player this season?
They
Like,
voted for it, bro. Like
okay, but like you would give it to him. Like
I
retrospectively, like you would
I
give it.
wouldn't give it to him, but the supporters clubs, which
That's
we
so
represent technically,
it's so
gave it
dumb.
to him, and the players gave it to him.
It's like genuinely, what are
He
they?
won like all three, like different
That's
versions of
insane.
it.
Like maybe like they're seeing something different that I'm not. But like, dude, like I can't name a single thing he did all season.
Like what
I
does
can't
that
even name
mean,
10
bro?
games he started.
What did Bert do this season that was so good?
Bert,
Yeah,
dude, he was like low-key electric before he tore his ACL.
name one thing. Name one thing.
He scored and assisted versus United.
Okay, Gray scored in a game against Brentford, maybe. I don't remember
in a
which
game.
one.
He's got 2 goals and 2 assists.
Thank
Gray did.
you.
Yeah.
Thank
Horrible.
you.
That's horrible. All right, I'll go look at Gray highlight reels after this.
You
but
should.
I
bro.
gotta go. I'll see you
All right.
guys.
Peace out,
Hey,
Chang.
it was great getting the gang back together. That's all I'm gonna say. All right.
All right.
peace.
Peace,
See ya.
bro.
And we will move on to the final segment of our show without Chang. World Cup.
Yes.
The US has topped group. Are we group C or group B?
D.
Group B? D. All right, perfect. US has topped group D. Do we have Scott, you have any initial reactions to this? I mean, Mauricio Pochettino, he's cooking.
We're balling. I was at the Paraguay match, and I had 6 seats. I could they were up there, which SoFi Stadium, by the way, is fucking cool. Like really cool
Insane.
stadium. It's absolutely insane. But yeah, I was up pretty high, and I could see. I was like almost at like one of the corner flags and could see like the whole pitch. So I got like a really good, just like tactical view of the match, right? Which was pretty sweet. I have never seen the men's national team play this good, and it just happens to coincide with a home World Cup. It's crazy, and I think like you have like the old heads, like the Dempsey era, right? That were just fucking gritty and just played very like American ball, right?
Yeah.
Just hard nosed soccer. And they thrived off of being the underdog and like taking on like the giant, right? That was their deal. So then we transitioned into this generation of like super technically talented players who are playing for some big clubs across Europe, and like we had like an identity shift. I think that Berhalter kind of facilitated all right, you know. But then Pochettino comes in, and I think he was there. A lot of questions have been asked about him, right? But what he's getting this team to do reminds me of peak Pochettino Spurs. And somebody
Agreed.
was talking about this the other day, and I think it was really well said that Pochettino's issue has always been that his style of play is like it's unsustainable over like a 55, 60 match season, right? But when you just need to do it 6, 7, 8 times in like 6 weeks, I think it's a whole different ball game. And with a week to train and just yeah, I all this to say, I think the stars are aligning. I'm not saying we're gonna win the World Cup, but I do think that it's possible. And I've watched a lot of soccer, and I think Spain and France by default. I actually maybe not even Spain. France by default has looked better. Spain's only played once, so
England
I'm gonna leave
looked
that out there.
incredible.
England
If
looked
we're
really
talking new
good.
managers coming in, changing
Hundred
stuff.
percent, man.
Yeah.
100%. I think France, I think England, I think Brazil, and I think Germany are the 4 teams that come to mind that have looked better than the US, right? But I think we're punching with the big guys on on or whatever day it was, last Friday, the Paraguay match. I've never seen a team execute the press so effectively. Like Paraguay had nothing, man. They were just scrambling for 90 minutes, just absolutely spinning the entire match, right? And Sergio Dest was not even really playing as a fullback. He was super high in advance and not he had like no defensive responsibilities. Anthony Robinson was like, I don't know, he was integral in the press, but Tyler Adams was
Yeah, he's
immense in
been
that match. Like,
insane. Yeah.
Dude, Tillman and McKinney were like more advanced than Balogun for much
Yeah.
of the game, right? And Tyler Adams and Anthony Robinson together, and Tim Ream, honestly, with just his like soccer IQ, those three guys really made it difficult for Paraguay to do anything. So yeah, anyways, I think we looked fantastic. I'm not surprised that we are going to top the group, but I'm absolutely mind blown that Turkey A has already been eliminated from the tournament. That's just something I still haven't been able to wrap my head around.
Yeah, I thought they were going to top our group. So,
Yeah.
yeah, crazy. Another team that's looked great, the Netherlands. They took on Robbie's Swedes today and absolutely destroyed them. So, Robbie, after a good first game for Sweden, how are you how are you feeling about the Swedes right now?
This is exactly what I knew was going to happen. I'm in another like World Cup group text, and I bumped it up today after the first goal, where I was very vocally on record for Sweden that they have perhaps one of the best collection of attackers in Europe, or like top 10 or so, with all the guys they have, but their defense is disastrous, miserable. I think their best defenders are playing either in like second division England or like, you know, the Netherlands. Like their defenders are not premier players by any stretch of the imagination. Netherlands picked them apart. I always knew that Sweden would be fighting for second with Japan, so that match is still to happen. That's going to be a huge match. I'm planning to go
Banger.
somewhere in Seattle to watch that. It's right before the USA Turkey match, which now doesn't matter, but it's the match right before it. So yeah, they're fighting for second, and now in the new World Cup with expanded teams, third still might get them through to the group stage. I think Sweden's best ever finish was the quarterfinals, so like that was always the ceiling anyway. Playing with house money, I think they'll make the elimination stage no matter what happens, but I like them to draw Japan, maybe even win, but I think draw is maybe the most likely outcome. Because I think, again, Sweden's just a really good attacking team, and their defense is maybe what's worse. And I'm not theoretically scared of Japan's attack offensively. They are a good structured defensive team, but yeah, that's my thoughts there of Sweden. But yeah, Netherlands, crazy. They have some great wide attackers too. They were just cutting through on people. I think almost 3 of the 5 goals were just like cut back to your strong foot, shoot it, kind of quick and easy goals. So Netherlands, you'd think, has to be in the top 5 favorites at this point too, based on how good they've looked.
Yeah, and those are like the 2 favorite groups, like the matchups of Japan, Sweden, Netherlands, and then Germany, Ecuador, Ivory Coast. Those trios in those groups have been so entertaining. In Germany, like Scott mentioned earlier, they got it done late today. A brace for Undav against Ivory Coast or Cote d'Ivoire. And they looked really good and resilient there. Or some great substitutions by Nagelsmann. And that's another example of a club manager coming to the international stage and really trying to will his country to a victory. But I'll ask each of you 3 questions. Who's your dark horse to go on a run or win the World Cup, not including the US? Who do you think is going to win the World Cup and over who in the final as of right now? And then who do you think is going to win the Golden Boot? Because the best thing about this World Cup is that we have seen Holland score 2 goals. We have seen Messi score a hat trick. We've seen Mbappe and Kane also get braces. It's been so fun to watch. Like the superstars are actually showing out, minus number 7 for Portugal. But yeah, so what do y'all think?
All right, I'm going to start with the team that I think is going to win the World Cup, because I'm still trying to figure out who I really think my dark horse is. My answer actually could maybe be the same, but I think Netherlands wins the World Cup, actually.
Wow.
And I think
Wow.
I failed to include them in my list of teams that have looked better than the US, but I think the US is there, but I think Netherlands has looked really good too. But anyways, I really think Netherlands wins because of their defensive abilities, and I think they're going to be able to hold on long enough to get through knockout competition. But also low key, because I learned about this economist who put together this, like, and Robbie, I think you maybe talked about this too. Maybe I'm wrong, but I came across this economist. He's like videos all over Instagram, and he's predicted the last 3 World Cups correctly. Maybe 2, but I think 3.
Like
Either
just the
way, 2 or 3.
winner or like the
Yeah,
final?
the winner. He's predicted the winner correctly in the last 2 or 3 World Cups since he created this algorithm, I believe, right? I feel like I'm trying to like sell people on this. But anyways, his algorithm, he said it takes into consideration population of a country, wealth of a country, strangely enough, the weather of a country, and then the last thing was, oh, it's ranking, it's FIFA ranking, right? He did feel like that was somewhat important, but he talked about how, obviously wealth and population factor in for obvious reasons, but that climate was like this massive piece of the whatever data he puts together and uses to predict. And again, an economist, right? So his algorithm said every time the Netherlands was the most likely to win the tournament. And so I just went ahead and all my brackets I made, I put Netherlands as a winner. So that's my answer. I'm going to stick with it. As far as the dark horse, I mean, I think
Oh,
I'd love
one
to say the
sec.
U.
Let me butt
Yeah,
in
yeah,
and shout the guy out. His name is Joachim Clement, and he is a German mathematician. Anyway, go
yes,
on.
thank you. Crazy. Yeah. Anyways, people look him up. So, yeah, thanks, Max. It's super fascinating stuff. And yeah, then as far as my dark horse, like I want to say the U.S., right? But we're gonna say that's not allowed. Kind of feel like the Netherlands is like a dark horse. I really do.
A little bit.
I want to say teams like Ecuador. I want to see teams like Morocco, right? Morocco is potentially one that I could get behind, but I feel like it's going to be one of those big five that we've talked about, right? The Netherlands, the France, the England, Germany, potentially Spain as well. But I will go on record saying that I think that the U.S. has a very interesting path to
For
the
sure.
final as the way things are looking right now. I think it would be like Bosnia and then maybe Austria and then either like
It might be like
DR
Belgium.
Congo or like I don't.
Yeah, I think the round of 16 would be Belgium. I don't if they
Yeah.
were to go through.
If they top the group,
Yeah.
it'll be Belgium, which is a classic World Cup matchup.
It is, man. It is. But they're not the Belgium of old, right? That doesn't scare me as much
They're
as it
so
used to.
beatable. I mean, Egypt should have beat them.
Yeah. But I could see a world where the US make the final. I really could.
But
And
what's a little bit scary right now is that right now, as we speak, the US is forecasted to play Ecuador.
in the round of 32?
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a tough
I
match.
do not want to play Ecuador.
Well, I don't know if you guys saw that. I don't remember if I sent it to this group chat or not, but right now, as it stands, who the U.S. plays in the round of 32 is the winner of Qatar and Bosnia, but one of them has to win. If they draw in that match, that's where it gets complicated. That's where Ecuador and other teams come up. Okay. But if Qatar or Bosnia win outright against each other, that person plays U.S. in the round of 32.
Oh,
gotcha.
Dude, we just need one of those teams. Those teams.
So
suck.
we're rooting for somebody to win in Seattle next Wednesday. Is what we're rooting for.
Okay, I can do that. I can do that. But yeah, the third place of the Ecuador, Germany, Ivory Coast group, I do not want to play.
Same.
But then the other side of the bracket right now, it's New Zealand versus the Czech Republic. We'd play the winner of that, but that will change if Belgium starts to move up because technically New Zealand is first in their group because they all have 1 point. But
gotcha. Yeah, it's still pretty early.
But yeah, and then top scorer, Scott?
It's a damn good question. You're gonna have to come back to me. I got to think about that for a second.
All right, I'll throw to Robbie. Who's your champion and World Cup dark horse?
Yeah, it's hard because not everybody's played 2 games, so we don't quite know what's real yet. I think based on what I've seen, well, here I'll start with because I just went to my bracket. What I started with is I thought it was my final prediction was Spain, England, which is not necessarily a popular opinion, but I really think the vibes for England are in a good place. I think England might go pretty far, but they haven't done it in forever. So like, maybe they're jinxed or whatever. I think based on what I've seen so far, like even though Germany was tough today, there's still a lot of firepower there. Brazil as another team like England, where are they for real? We never know, but they also have a lot of firepower. I think, yeah, I mean, for now, I'll just stick with Spain because that's who I went in with. We haven't seen a second game from Spain. Maybe they fall flat again. I don't know. For dark horse, I didn't have this answer until I went to the tables, but like nobody's talking about Argentina, and they won it last time. So like maybe they qualify as a dark horse because literally nobody is talking about them. So maybe that's the unpopular choice I'll take because like literally no one is talking about them. So I'll say Argentina for that. And then yeah, Golden Boot. I mean, it's going to come down to who plays the furthest into the tournament. Is it going to be Mbappe? Is it going to be Harry Kane? Who had 2 for Brazil the other day? Was that
it was Cunha.
Cunha had 2. He might be a dark horse for that. I don't think Norway's going very far, so I'm not going to say Holland, but yeah, I think Kane has a chance because England I think is going to go pretty far. So I'll say Kane.
Yeah,
and I'll have to say Kane too.
You're going Kane. All right, yeah. I'll take this another way. My final, I initially had in my bracket France over Portugal. I still think France is going to win, and I still like Portugal if they can figure out the number 9 position. Like the rest of that team and bench is crazy.
They're the best midfield in the tournament, I think.
Oh, for sure, dog. They weren't even starting Ruben Diaz, and like that in their back line, like it's crazy. And Leao was on the bench, and yeah, they have a really talented team. So I do like Portugal to go far. I feel like Portugal and Spain, like they're kind of like sleeping, hanging back a little bit because they had those draws and people are like down on them. I think Portugal is going to be really good. My dark horse, like true dark horse, Japan. I really like the way they looked against Netherlands. I mean, to get a point against the Netherlands and then seeing how Netherlands looked against Sweden today, really impressive from them. And I think it was a bad matchup for them with how physical and big the Netherlands are compared to a Japanese team that's like so technical. I like Japan to maybe make the quarterfinals. I like the US to go on a run at like hopefully quarterfinals would be really cool. And then I think Portugal and Spain respond a little bit, but I don't really see it as much with Spain. It feels like they're banged up. I don't know if they can go back-to-back Euros World Cup again. And then top scorer, I'll go Mbappe. He's the best World Cup player I've ever seen. No one does it better on this stage ever.
Yeah, it's a good show. It's hard to argue against Mbappe.
Like Messi's the all-time leading scorer. Mbappe is like 2 or 3 goals behind him, and he's in his 20s. It's just insane.
Yeah. The only thing I'll say, because I just had to look at my bracket, Scott, as to why I didn't think of Netherlands or have them going far, is they would have to go through France. I think in the quarterfinals or something.
Most people are. Yeah. They have that matchup: Netherlands, France, in the quarterfinals.
Yeah, they'll both win their group, I'm sure. Yeah, it's interesting, man. I do think that we've kind of talked about a lot of different teams. I think I'm a little higher on Norway maybe than
I like Norway too. Robbie. I think they win a game.
Yeah, I think they I think they can maybe even make the quarters, right? I don't know. I'd have to look and see what their path looks like before I actually confirm that, right? But I think it's possible. I do think Morocco always stands a chance.
Morocco's good.
Deep. They're good. They're very talented. The interesting thing about Morocco for me though is like just that bullshit they pulled at AFCON, man. That just like pissed me off.
Yeah,
they irritate the shit out of me. But yeah, same. They're good. But yeah, the Portugal shot too, man. I think that's a really good underdog. I think when we were talking earlier about the Zerbi, like in people who can play the 6, 8 to 10, I was thinking there's only 2 people in the world who I know can play all of those positions like super well at the highest level, and it's Vitinha and João Neves, right? I think those are the only. For sure. That's a good shout. But I'll just say we'll say two of the three,
Yeah,
play together
sure.
for Portugal, and then you got Bruno Fernandes, who's coming off the greatest season of his career, like without a doubt, right? He just set the all-time assist record in the Premier League. So they're good, man. I think Portugal has every reason to think they can win this tournament too.
Definitely. All right. Well, that'll do it for us. Thank you guys for watching / listening. And hopefully we'll keep it up this summer. Yeah, I know Chang and I working full time now, so don't have much of a social life. More time to record some World Cup and Spurs content, and
Yep.
hopefully we get some signings through the door soon. But this is a super exciting time for Tottenham. Super exciting time in soccer. Yeah, this World Cup has been absolutely fantastic, and I will give credit to where it's due. I think a lot of people were skeptical about the U.S. hosting. I think the U.S. has done an incredible job. U.S. soccer
Yep.
so far, like Seattle, shout out Seattle. That turnout against Australia was ridiculous. I've
Mm,
been really impressed so far. I think this has been one of the best World Cups in a long time so far.
no doubt. I had a buddy who was there at Lumen yesterday, and he said that he'd never been to a louder soccer match. And this guy's like high up in AO and has been to every World Cup. And he'll say he got credentials. And he said, he was like, honestly, the US should play every home match in Seattle, like forever. They should never waste their time playing anywhere else after what I experienced today. So shout to Seattle, anyone who hears this that was there, good on you. I had, I have had, I've missed Seattle since I left. I haven't had like FOMO, right? I don't come find myself having FOMO very often, but yesterday I was like super down on the fact that I didn't live
Same,
in Seattle.
same.
It was tough, man, to see, a place that I eventually started to call my city, right? Rocking a World Cup without me. It hurt, but shout out to everybody who was there yesterday. It was crazy.
Yep, and shout out to the Wits End Cascades Rainier Growlers at Seattle Spurs on Twitter. I'm sure they're hosting World Cup stuff at the Wits End too. And then yeah, follow Emerald and Lily White on Twitter, Robbie_Light, Scott G Bird on Twitter, Alex H Chang for Chang, Going Limbs for me. And I will see you guys next time. Peace and come on, you Spurs, and go USA.